Good morning, everyone. Let me ask you a question. What's stopping you? Not your boss, not the economy, not your circumstances. You. What's stopping you from being where you want to be? Because more often than not, the biggest obstacle standing in our way isn't the world around us. It's ourselves. We tell ourselves stories, I'm not ready yet, I don't have enough experience, what if I fail? These stories sound like facts, but they're just fears wrapped in logic. And the longer we believe them, the longer we stay stuck. We hold ourselves back not because we can't move forward, but because we're afraid of what happens when we do. But here's the truth, no one is ever fully ready. No one starts out confident. No one has all the answers before they begin. The people who succeed, the people who grow, the people who do incredible things aren't the ones who waited until they felt ready. They're the ones who started before they did. So how do we stop holding ourselves back? First, we have to recognize the excuses we tell ourselves, because that's all they are, excuses. Second, we have to stop waiting for permission. No one is going to hand us an invitation to chase our potential. And third, we have to stop fearing failure, because failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every time we hesitate, every time we second guess ourselves, we give up a little piece of the life we could be living, the life we should be living. But the good news is, we have the power to change that. The question is, will we? 1. We are our own biggest obstacle. More often than not, the thing standing between us and the life we want isn't a lack of opportunity, resources, or talent. It's us. We hold ourselves back with doubt, hesitation, and fear of failure. We assume that success is reserved for people who are smarter, luckier, or more capable, when in reality, the only difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't is the willingness to take action despite uncertainty. Every day we make decisions. Some move us forward, while others keep us stuck in the same place. The question is, which ones are we making more often? We tell ourselves stories that justify our inaction. I don't have enough experience. What if I fail? I need to wait until I'm ready. But these aren't facts. They're just fears in disguise. And the longer we believe them, the more power they have over us. Think about it. How many times have you avoided an opportunity, not because you weren't capable, but because you were afraid? We assume that fear means stop, but fear is actually a sign that something matters. It's proof that we're stepping outside our comfort zone. And if we don't challenge these fears, they quietly dictate our choices, keeping us small, keeping us stuck, keeping us from reaching our full potential. The truth is, no external force holds us back as much as our own mindset. People who succeed aren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who refuse to let self-doubt control their actions. They feel fear, but they move forward anyway. They recognize their excuses for what they are and push past them. They don't wait for the perfect moment because they know it will never come. And that's the real difference. It's not about whether or not we can achieve something. It's about whether or not we're willing to get out of our own way to make it happen. 2. Our excuses feel like facts. The stories we tell ourselves about why we can't do something often feel so real that we accept them as the truth. I'm not experienced enough. I don't have the right connections. I'm not ready. These statements seem logical, even reasonable, but in reality they are just fears wrapped in justification. We create these excuses to protect ourselves from discomfort, from the possibility of failure, from the unknown. The problem is when we believe these excuses, we limit ourselves before we even try. We assume that success is only possible once all conditions are perfect. But perfection is an illusion. The people who achieve great things are not the ones who had everything figured out from the start, but the ones who started anyway. Think about the last time you held yourself back. Was it really because you couldn't do it? Or was it because you were afraid? Fear disguises itself as logic. It convinces us that waiting is the safer option, that we need more time, more resources, more validation. But the truth is, most of the time, we are far more capable than we give ourselves credit for. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is not intelligence or talent. It's the ability to recognize fear-driven excuses and move forward despite them. The moment we challenge our own limiting beliefs is the moment we take back control of our potential. When we stop seeing our excuses as unchangeable truths, we create room for possibility. Instead of saying, "I'm not ready," we ask, "What small step can I take today?" Instead of saying, "I don't have enough experience," we ask, "How can I start gaining it?" The shift in perspective is what separates those who move forward from those who stay where they are. The truth is, if we wait for the perfect moment, we'll be waiting forever. The only way to break free from our excuses is to take action before we feel ready, because readiness comes from doing, not from waiting. 3. No one is ever truly ready. We often tell ourselves that we'll take action once we feel ready, once we have more experience, more confidence, or the perfect plan. But here's the truth. No one starts out feeling ready. Every person who has ever done something great, whether it's starting a business, switching careers, or taking a leap into the unknown, began with uncertainty. The people we admire, the ones who seem so sure of themselves, weren't born that way. They became confident by stepping into discomfort, by taking action before they had all the answers. Confidence doesn't come before action, it comes from action. The only way to truly be ready is to start, to learn as we go, to figure things out along the way. Waiting until we feel ready is just another way of delaying growth. The truth is, if we only take action when we feel 100% prepared, we'll never move forward, because there will always be something we don't know yet. Growth isn't about having everything figured out beforehand, it's about trusting ourselves enough to begin. Even in uncertainty, every expert was once a beginner. Every leader once doubted themselves. The difference is, they didn't wait for readiness to give them permission. They started before they felt ready, and that's what made them ready. Failure is not the enemy. From an early age, we are conditioned to avoid failure. We are taught that failure is a sign of weakness, a reflection of our abilities, something to be ashamed of. But the truth is, failure is not the opposite of success. It is a necessary part of it. Every successful person has failed, not once, but many times. The difference is, they don't see failure as a stop sign. They see it as feedback. When we fail, we learn what doesn't work. We gain insight, resilience, and the kind of experience that only comes from trying. If we never fail, it means we're never stepping outside of our comfort zone. And if we're not stepping outside of our comfort zone, we're not growing. The fear of failure keeps so many people from even trying. But the irony is, avoiding failure doesn't protect us. It only guarantees that we stay exactly where we are. Failure is not what holds us back. It's our fear of failure that keeps us from taking action. Every mistake, every setback, every misstep is a lesson in disguise. If we shift our mindset from seeing failure as something to fear to something to use, we unlock our potential in ways we never imagined. The most successful people aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail, learn, and keep moving forward. 5. We must take responsibility for our own progress. It's easy to wait for someone to give us permission, to tell us we're ready, to offer us an opportunity, to validate our potential. But the hard truth is, no one is coming to save us. No one is going to hand us success or push us toward growth. If we wait for the perfect circumstances or for someone else to open the door for us, we may be waiting forever. The most successful people in the world aren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who take responsibility for their own progress. They don't wait for approval, they take action. They don't wait for confidence, they build it through experience. They don't blame circumstances, they adapt and find a way forward. The moment we realize that our growth is in our hands, not anyone else's, is the moment we take back control of our lives. Too often we give away our power by making excuses, blaming others, or waiting for the right time. But the truth is, there is no right time, there is only now. We have to stop looking outside of ourselves for answers and start taking ownership of our actions, our choices, and our mindset. The world will not hand us success. We have to create it for ourselves. And that begins when we stop waiting, stop hesitating, and start stepping forward, even when it's uncomfortable. Growth isn't something we passively receive, it's something we actively choose every single day. So the question isn't whether we're capable, it's whether we're willing. Will we keep waiting for the perfect moment, or will we take action despite the uncertainty? Will we let fear dictate our choices, or will we push forward and see what we're truly capable of? The difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck isn't luck, talent, or timing. It's the decision to stop holding ourselves back. The truth is, we already have everything we need to move forward. We don't need permission. We don't need to be fearless. We just need to start. Because growth doesn't happen when we wait, it happens when we act. And once we do, we realize that the only thing ever standing in our way was us.